Hello, everyone. This hour on
Hello.
Verbling, the next in my Getting Results in Business series. I'm going to do a little introduction, tell you about the class, and then I'm going to say hello to everyone as you come in. So, let me start by just getting my name on the board. Let's see if I can get my name on the screen. It's not a board. I don't know why I called it a board. It's a screen. There we go. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, coming at you today from Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. And by the way, if you click on that link in the chat window, you can follow me to see all my upcoming classes. You can also schedule a private tutoring session with me to see what a custom tailored lesson is like. These group sessions are great for fun and for practice, but serious progress comes with a personal learning plan which I'll design for you when we book a private tutoring session. That's a little bit about me. Oh, just send me a message first because I'm a little bit busy and I want to find time for you in my schedule. Let's talk about this class. In this class, we're going to continue with our unit on how to talk about services and systems. What we're going to do is compare and contrast a new service. Sometimes you have to convince people in your job that a particular service is useful, or I'm just going to have to mute someone because I'm hearing lots of music in the background. I don't know who it is. I'm just going to have to mute you for a second, everyone. I think it was you, Luigi. We were hearing some kind of music in the background. Okay, you can turn your microphone back on when you're ready to speak. Let's keep it off for just a second. So, what we're going to be doing is talking about why something is better than something else, why one service is particularly better. And perhaps we'll do a little review of also how you describe the systems that are involved in that service. We'll be going over some of those key phrases we learned in the last class. If you click on that link I just gave you in the chat window, you're going to see this, which I'm going to share with you right now. It's still loading. It'll be there in just a second. And we'll get started. There we go. Now it's loaded. Kind of. It's a little slow. Okay, while I'm loading up the material, let me just say hello to everyone. So the first person I saw was Mr. Andreas. How are you, Andreas? Turn on your microphone. Hello, Andreas.
Hello.
There we
Hi.
go. How are you? Where are you from, Andreas?
I am from Sweden.
You're from Sweden. Very good.
Yes.
I only know how to say two things in Swedish. I know how to say tack så mycket, and I know how to say
Tack så mycket.
Simulka, and I know how to say IKEA. Those are the two things I know how to say.
Okay.
That's it.
More than the most.
And I know how to say the title of every movie by Ingmar Bergman, because I've seen them all,
Okay.
I think. Maybe not. It's been a while. So what we're doing is working on our business skills for new systems and services. What kind of services do you use in your job, Andreas?
Right now I am between jobs, so right now I'm not using any services.
And what were you doing before?
Before I worked at the post office.
Ah, so there's
So I use...
tons and tons of things there, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Very good, very good.
But I don't know the name of them, so it's hard to explain.
Oh, perfect. I will force you to explain one.
We have these advices, what do you call it?
Devices?
Devices, which you scanned in.
Scanners?
Yeah, exactly. Packages when they arrived. That was
Ah.
the one we used the most.
In fact, there's a picture of that in our first presentation. You can actually see it. So you had a barcode scanner, I guess, something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Excellent. Post offices are good because for systems because there are so many things you need to do to handle the distribution of the mail.
That's right.
So this is a great class for you, actually. Very good. Let me also say hello to Mr. Luigi. Nice to see you, Luigi. How are you?
I'm fine, John. Nice to see you again, too.
Okay, very good. And Mr. Jose. Nice to see you, Jose. Long
Nice
time
to
no
see
see.
you again. Yes, a long time.
Seems like almost minutes. And Ms. Ksenia. How are you, Ksenia?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. Very good. All right. Let's do just a quick review before we start. So if you open our notes and you scroll down to class number 4, last Thursday, what we did, so what, why was it important, and now what should you do? So what we did was, in that lesson, we focused on explaining how something works and comparing it with an old version or an old system. Specifically, we looked at key phrases for comparing, contrasting, and saying what something is or does. Basically, what Andreas was just saying, I know what they are, but I don't know how to explain them. So actually, those were the key phrases we looked at. How to explain them. How to say what is good or new or different about this version than the old version, or how it compares to something that's similar but different. We'll review those expressions in just a moment. So what? What was the point of that? Well, now you can use important and common expressions for comparing and contrasting as well as for describing, such as on one hand, on the other hand. Do you remember any others from last week, by the way? People who were here? Just out of curiosity, do you remember some of the others from last week? I'm going to put them on screen, but if you remember, then let me know, and I'll mention them before I put them on screen. So we'll go over those in a second. Now what should you do? One thing you can do is review those by using the map up above, and you can write about a service at your work, just like we did on Thursday when we spoke about it. And if you want to send it to me, I'll correct it and send it back. We're going to get a little more speaking practice today. Let me open the map to show you what I mean by reviewing. Oh, so slow. Give me a second here to open this. So I don't have the finished version of the map, so you have to open up with this app, MindMap. By the way, you don't have to ask me for permission. Anyone can open the map as far as I know. If it does ask you for permission, I will give it to you, so don't worry. When you do open it up, it looks like this thing. It takes a minute to load. There we go. So we looked at, oops. We talked about key phrases last week. I hope this is up to date. Let's see. Talking about interests, likes and dislikes, saying telephone numbers. Uh-oh. This might not be up to date. No, it's not. I don't believe it. I have to update these. So you know what? Never mind. The map is not ready. I have to update it later today. Forget I showed that to you. It's not ready. Instead, let's go to our presentation. Ugh. See, I thought I was ready and I'm not. Oh my god. Don't worry. I'll show you what I was talking about. So I'm going to open presentation 2 from last Thursday before we move on to presentation 3. And talking about business skills, if you scroll all the way down past the exercises, you'll get to this page, which has a summary of all of those key expressions from last week. So comparing and contrasting we had on the one hand, but on the other hand, well, the good news is it's new, but the bad news is it's complicated. Whereas before, you could enter the name of a customer, we now can have the system suggest customers that would best fit our product. I don't know, I'm just making it up, but you see what I'm saying. All of these key expressions, it looks similar to the old system, but what's different is it makes suggestions for you. It might seem old-fashioned, but in fact it's very up-to-date. All of these we use to describe a system. And I think we should start by getting a little more practice with those key expressions before we move on to something new. If you weren't here, don't worry. This is a good introduction, and you can open that material by clicking on the Open This link in the chat window or in the class material. You'll find it in both places. Okay? So let's try it. On the screen, in exercise 6, you'll see two things that you should compare. If you were here last week, I want you to pick something that's not on the screen. If you weren't, you can use the examples in front of you. So here's an example. Number 1, CD players and MP3 players. Compared to CD players, and now you can see it, you can see that we're using the comparing expressions on slide 9. Compared to CD players, MP3 players store more songs, are smaller, and are more expensive. Let's see. Filing cabinets. I'm going to pick an expression to do one more example for you. Let's do an easy one. On one hand, but on the other hand. On one hand, the old filing cabinets we used to use take up a lot of space. But on the other hand, now I'm comparing it to itself, but on the other hand, it was really easy to know where everything is because you just open it and it's there. So maybe there's a reason to have an old filing cabinet. Now what about compared to your PC? The way we store files on a PC. Do you think it's an improvement or not? Luigi, what do you think? Is it an improvement, the way we store files on a PC, as opposed to the old days with lots and lots and lots of paper?
Yes, it's a huge improvement to store files on PCs. It's easy to store. It's you can find things very quickly. You can use search. How do you say?
Well, you could have. You can.
Yes, you can search quickly with a word or a keyword, and you find the thing you are searching for.
Okay, excellent. Now, Luigi, I want you to say that, but I want you to use one of these key expressions. So repeat what you said, but I want you to use at least one of these comparing or additional benefit features key expressions. Give it a try.
Okay. Basically, when you store files on a PC, you can search things very quickly. On the other hand,
now you got to say something negative.
It's difficult. It's difficult. All right. On the other hand, when the light went out, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Because file cabinets is always there. The documents is always there.
That's right. Documents are always there. Are always there.
Okay, the documents are always there.
Excellent, excellent. That's it. So on the one hand, searching is so much faster in online file systems or whatever. But on the other hand, if the electricity goes out, you've got a problem. Absolutely. Excellent. Okay, let's do the same with going to the bank, and you're going to compare it to online banking. Mr. Andreas, why don't you give it a try? Look at number 3 in exercise 6.
Yes, okay.
Okay. And now I
One-
want you to use one of these expressions under comparing.
Okay. One benefit is that you can stay home and do your
Banking.
banking,
Good.
though a drawback might be if the internet connection is bad, it's hard to do your
It's hard to do your?
banking.
It's hard to do your banking. Yeah. I agree. And that's not the only drawback, is it? Ksenia, what do you think? What's another drawback about online banking? What's everyone worried about?
I think the largest drawback of the online bank is that some guys could steal your IP on your card.
Or some girls.
Or some girls, maybe, yes, and steal all your money from your bank account.
That's right, that's right. So, Andreas, do you think the benefit outweighs the drawback?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah?
And that's the reason it gets more popular with online banking.
That's the reason it got more popular?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I agree, yeah. It's so convenient that how can we not do it? And yet, as Ksenia said, some guys or some girls, Ksenia, what do we call guys and girls that electronically steal your information? What do we call them?
Hacker?
Yeah. Some hackers could get a hold of your private information. So that is a major drawback. But you know what? No one's worried about that anymore. They used to be. All right. I want you to think of an example of your own. Take turns to talk about the functionality of 1 to 3, but I'd like you to maybe think of another example. So we've got CDs and MP3 players, storing things in paper versus on the PC, online banking versus traditional banking. You can talk about the functionality of these things, or you can mention an example of your own, particularly if it's a new version of an old system. All right? So, Mr. Paolo, how are you?
Hello, Eric. Nice to see you again. I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Paolo, can you think of a service that we use today that is somehow better, new, or different than before? Like the examples you see on screen.
Well, MP3 player is nowadays is useless than other services like iTunes.
Good point. Yeah, it's already out of date.
Yes, already. And on the other hand, iTunes is expensive sometimes if you want to buy more songs. And I think it's some people prefer to buy a vinyl, a new fashion trend.
A new trend. A new trend.
Yeah, because some people like to put the vinyl on the vitrola, I don't know.
I didn't catch the last word, Paolo.
Yes, I forgot the name. The vinyl on the not the desktop, but on the
laptop.
Yes, laptop sometimes, but
tablet.
No, the old electronic instrument, like when we use it to play vinyl and CDs. I forgot the names. Thank you.
CD player, DVD player.
Gramophone.
Older. Yes.
Say it in Portuguese.
Vitrola, gramophone.
Ah, Vitrola. It's record player.
Yes, record player. It's very old. So
Yeah.
people nowadays like to put the vinyl on the Vitrola, on the
Record player.
record player. Yes, record player.
By
But
the way, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
no, but I think the services peer-to-peer it's common too. But I use now to listen song through the YouTube. I like to searching music on the YouTube and put them and listen through YouTube. Is easier for me than MP3 or iTunes.
Let's see what the group thinks about that. What do you
Okay.
think about streaming music through YouTube? Because there's other services out there, and as you do this, by the way, don't forget your expressions for comparing, okay? What do you think about listening to music streaming through YouTube as opposed to other services or other systems? MP3 is a kind of a system, but you've got music services like Spotify and SoundCloud and things like that. So what do you think? Class, all of you. Do you know about the other streaming music services, by the way? Does anyone use Spotify? Or
Yes, I use Spotify.
Ah, yeah.
don't use Spotify.
So Andreas, I would like you to compare that. Paolo is saying he likes to listen to music through YouTube. I do that all the time because it's so easy to search. On one hand, it's easy to search for music on YouTube, but on the other hand, I don't know if it's the best quality sound. What would you say about Spotify?
Spotify. The good news is that there is a lot of music there and a lot of songs. But the bad news is it's pretty expensive.
Ah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So you have to pay what, a monthly fee or something?
Exactly. At least here in Sweden.
I don't know if you have to, because I don't
I
have an
think
account.
there's two versions. One where you get like commercial and ads between the songs.
Right, right.
But here in Sweden, we need to pay.
Yeah, I think it might be free in the States or something. Something like that. Isn't it
was
like
free here before, but now they charge us.
I seem to remember that if you're in, if you change your IP address, do you still have to pay? Because I wonder if it's free in the United States. I seem to remember that, or maybe they just started making everyone pay. I don't know. It's been a while since I've used it.
I think everyone needs to pay nowadays.
Everyone needs to pay. Uh-oh. So the good news is there's a great variety, but the bad news is you've got to pay.
Yes.
All right, very good. And what about you, Luigi? What do you think is the best system or service for music?
Well, I think the best system for music is Spotify. Whereas before I used YouTube to search where the music search is easier. Spotify is nice. You can make your own playlists and you choose the playlist you want in the free version that we have here in Brazil. So we can listen to a playlist without paying for nothing. And if you want to choose the right music at whenever you want, you have to pay for the service.
Take a look in the chat window quickly.
So different from Sweden, here we are free to use the service.
Yeah, I got that idea too, that it depends on your IP address. By the way, Luigi, take a look in the chat window. See what I wrote?
Without paying, Without paying for anything, yes.
Oh, sorry, without paying. I meant to say paying. Sorry.
Without paying for anything.
Right. What did you say before?
Maybe paying for nothing.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Without is a negative and nothing is a negative. You can only have one negative in a sentence, not two. That's the problem.
Oh, great. Without paying for anything.
Correct.
Because there's one negative.
Correct. By the way, when I give you suggestions in the window, I should write this up so it's easy to see. But M is for mistake. If it's a big grammar issue, I'll put a G for grammar. I'll put a W for a new word. I've got a bunch of these. I'll put a P for pronunciation. Okay, so just to be fast, I'll put a little symbol, a letter, so that you know
Great.
what kind of mistake it is or what kind of issue it is. Okay, very good, everyone. Very good. Now, the last thing I want you to do here before we start something new, the new thing is we're going to talk about how to introduce a new service or system. What's the language you can use to get people's attention and to know why it's important? How do you introduce it? But before we do that, maybe what we ought to do is talk about something a little bit like what we were doing, but something more related to work. Because there you have to get it right the first time. Think of something that has recently changed at work. Now this is something I did at the very end of last Thursday's class, but we didn't really have a lot of time. Okay, so let's have a group discussion here. Don't forget your key phrases. Think of something that has recently changed at work, your current job or your previous job, it doesn't matter, or your future job for that matter. Tell your partner, well that's us, the class, about the benefits and drawbacks of the change. It might be a change to the working hours or breaks, how supplies are ordered, measuring customer satisfaction. It really doesn't matter. It's because everyone has different jobs. Okay? So, for example, at my job, I can tell you about a change that's happening. I would say something like, well, I know that that in the future, as far as my boss has made it clear, we'll be able to have private group classes as well as private individual classes. So, whereas before there was only one price for a private class, as far as I know, I don't know because it hasn't happened yet, but as far as I know in the future, you might be able to get a lower price by bringing a friend and sharing the cost, so it's lower for everyone. The teacher gets paid more, you pay a lot less, and you still get individual attention because you'll have less people than a normal group class. So it seems like it might be an interesting change. Anyway, it's been proposed. What about you, Ksenia? Think about something that's recently changed at your work.
Okay.
Something that you have to talk about, that you might have to explain to a colleague or your boss or something.
Recently we had a new rule in our job, so our break for lunch now is less on 15 minutes. By the way, on the Friday we have a 2 hours cut in our job day, so we can go home early on 2 hours.
We can go home 2 hours earlier.
2 hours earlier. On one hand, it's great because we have a spare time on Friday and we can spend more time with our family. But on the other hand, we haven't a lot of time for dinner, so we have to eat sandwich with Coke or something else, and it's bad for our stomach. For example.
You don't have to have Coke. You could drink water, for example.
It's not such tasty with water. Sandwich with water.
Okay. Juice? Tea?
Only Coke.
Okay. Coke can take the paint off of your car, by the way. If you leave Coca-Cola on your car, I know I've seen it done. It will rip the paint off of it. Imagine what it does to your body. But boy, does it taste good. All right. So, what do you think, Mr. Paulo? Talk about something at your work. Did you have to deal with a change like Ksenia is talking about? Do you get an early Friday?
Well, I think the learning distance is a difference from the presential classes.
Distance learning, yeah?
Yeah, distance learning, like as verbally.
Right.
I think it's in the future, not in the present, in the future, it will be more common, and versus the presential classes. And I am teacher too, and I'm coaching psychotherapist, and I think we need to produce more services through the internet. Is a big change, but nowadays we need to accustomate to use this kind of services through internet around the world. I think the competitors there are around the world, like a globalization is more and more common, and we need to develop more services through internet. Is a big change, and in the future we will have more and more services by this kind of services, like universities from United States, like Harvard, like Stanford, MIT, North Carolina, offers a lot of great courses, free courses, and on the other hand,
they're free, but you still have to pay to get a certificate.
Yes, but I think certificate is interesting for the legitimacy of government in Brazil or other country, but some short course certificate is not a good benefit or a great benefit. It's a good benefit, but not great. And sometimes we can take this course and learning from the great universities and great content, but after that we can buy the certificate or pay for the other courses. I know. I think when this kind of universities offers these services online, free online, it's a risk for us to buy other courses in the future. But on the other hand, we need to understand how this market work, and it's difficult sometimes.
This market. By the way, notice I'm putting a few corrections in the chat window. So take a look. G is for grammar. Take a look, Paulo. See it?
Okay, market works.
Exactly. And earlier, W for new word. What you were describing earlier with globalization, I think you wanted to say we need to be competitive.
Competitive.
Yeah, I think that was what you were trying to describe. So it's a good word. We need to be competitive. And these online courses might allow us to do that, maybe because there's access to things we didn't have before. Yeah, the online courses, it's a double-edged sword. It's free on one hand, but there's no substitute for, I don't know, being with a group of people and really being able to hang out with them and talk with them. I don't know if the internet has quite evolved to that point. We're still so new. We're still learning, but that's my only fear, that you still need to hang out and exchange ideas with people when you learn. But certainly for training, absolutely. There's nothing better, I think. Training where it's really you learning a skill. I think it's the perfect medium, like for language, for example. It's a great way to learn. Well, I want us to take a look at something new as well, as I said. So I'm going to open a third presentation. You're also going to get a chance to do a bit of speaking, of course, but I want to start off with a new skill. So take a look. There we go. Systems and Services 3. Practically speaking, where we're going to be introducing information like this. Now, start off with a little bit of listening. Give me just a second to open this. How to introduce information. I want you to notice the stressed words in bold and the pauses after the introductory phrases. It says to listen, but actually I prefer that you actually read it and use that little slash symbol as a pause. And then I'm going to say it, and I want you to notice the difference. Afterwards, we're going to take those introductory phrases and we're going to categorize them with the functions, the purpose of these, in exercise 2. All right? So let's give it a try. Mr. Jose, can you read the first one?
Yes. As you know, we have a new customer database.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Now listen to me for the stress and the pause. As you know, we have a new customer database.
As you know, we have a new customer database.
Okay, use your ears. Really listen. As you know.
As you know.
Mm-hmm. As you know.
As you know.
Well, it's a little bit more of a rising, falling. As you know.
As you know.
No. Gotta drop down at the end.
Okay. As you know.
That's better. Pause. We have a new customer database.
We have a new customer database.
Hold on a second, everyone. I have a little technical problem.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. So, Ksenia, take a look at number 2. Give it a try.
So, the purpose of today is for you to start to become familiar with it.
A little more stress on purpose, maybe. So the purpose of today.
So the purpose of today.
That's it. So it's always this kind of rising, falling tone. So the purpose of today, and it falls on of today. Okay, very good. Mr. Luigi, try number 3.
As I say, the good news is.
That's it. as I say, or as I say.
As I say, the good news is.
That's it. Excellent. And Mr. Paulo, number 4.
Now, up on the screen you can see.
Right. All of these phrases were from the audio from last week, where the guy was talking about a new customer database. So we listened to it once, we read it. It was a little bit ago, but that's why these should be familiar. If you weren't here, you won't know. In number 4, he's trying to get your attention, so he says, now. In other words, I'm about to say something new, and it's more just of a falling tone. Now. Up on the screen you can see, blah, 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 blah. So that one is just falling. Now. Mr. Paulo? Now.
Now. Up on the screen you can see.
That's it. And the last one. In other words, kind of rises and falls as well. So think about that stress and where you pause, particularly when you're presenting a new system. Take a look at the functions at the bottom. Okay? So, repeating, which one would you say is repeating something that you've already said? What do you think? If it's a little difficult, we can go back to the original audio, but take a guess first. Any guesses?
Yes, repeating something you have already said. Number 3, as I say.
Absolutely. 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 So the expression is, as I say. In other words, I'm repeating myself. The good news is that the database is whatever he said. Okay, that's it. Explaining a feature in a different way. Which of those expressions explains a feature in a different way?
In other
words.
In other words. Okay, very good. So number 5. Giving information that is already common knowledge.
As
you know. As you know.
As you know, which is number 1. Okay, so far so good. That was, what, C, right? Yeah, D. Explaining what is going to happen.
So the purpose of today?
So the purpose of today, that's what's going to happen in the presentation next. Excellent. And the last one, introducing a new item.
Now.
Now. Right. These are some key expressions that might be useful if you have to do a similar presentation. And now I want you to do a similar presentation. Give a 1-minute presentation, not to your partner, to us, about how an object in your classroom or office works. For example, CD player, answering machine, Spotify. It's up to you. But preferably something that you really have to explain, perhaps to a colleague or something like that. Try to use all 5 of the introductory phrases in your presentation. And if you like, I can give you an example, or you can just give it a shot. So, want to try it yourself, or do you want an example?
Example.
All right. Let's see if I can do this. I don't have one, but I'll try one spontaneously. Let's see. As you all know, we've been thinking about upgrading the group lessons in Verbling. So the purpose of today is just to let you know what some of the new changes will be. Now, as I say, the change will be that we will perhaps be able to open up the private lessons to be available for groups rather than just individuals. Now, up on screen, you can see a wonderful chart showing, I don't have anything up on screen. You can just use your imagination. But I don't have to say up on screen. I could say now to get your attention in other ways. Now, you might be asking yourself, you know, what will be the benefit for me if I were to try one of these private group classes? So that might be another way. Use it with a rhetorical question. And the last one, in other words. So in other words, rather than just creating a new product, what we're trying to do is to make product that people enjoy available to more people who are interested in different kinds of subscriptions. And that's a little bit about it. Ksenia, that's the best I could do off the top of my head.
Thank you.
So, focus on something that you really have to talk about at work. Focus on something now, not just comparing and contrasting, but I'd like you to actually do a short presentation, very short. For the now and in the other words, at the bottom, you don't have to pretend that you're giving a PowerPoint presentation. Now could be, for example, a rhetorical question or a major point that you want to make. Okay? If you're not sure about a new service or system at work, use something that you use every day. Okay? But the important thing is try to use these key phrases to do it. So, who's feeling brave?
Okay.
Go for it, Paolo.
So the purpose of today is for you to start to become familiar with the innovation system in our organization. As I say, the good news is the innovation is a good deal for all marketing and for all customers in the world. In other words, as well as giving the customer more of what they want, we need to introduce new services and new products to enlighten their needs and their wishes. As you know, we have a new customer database that informs us about habits and profile the new customers. Now, up on the screen, you can see the new services and new products and how we can develop more customer personalized services. Thank you.
Like a professional. Very good, very good.
Thank you.
I was trying to take some notes. Give me a second. I'm going to correct my spelling because I was writing really quickly. And I'll put it on the screen. Give me just a second here. Almost done. Hold on. Okay. So, Paulo, this is what I heard you say. I know I missed some information, but that's what I heard you say in the chat window.
Okay, thank you.
Now, hang on a second. Let's see if we can give you some feedback. So first, tell me if I know that I missed a bit of information, but tell me if I got the basic idea right. So the purpose of today is for you to start to become familiar with the innovation system in our organization. As I say, the good news is that the innovation system is I think it's meant to be as a good deal for our market and for everyone in other markets. I missed some information there. As well as giving the customer what they want, I lost you there. You were speaking too fast. I heard you, but I couldn't write it down. So, look at the first sentence. Paulo. The purpose of the day is for you to start familiar with the innovation system. What do you mean by innovation system?
I thought about the innovation organization because we have innovation in products and we have innovation in management.
Ah, okay. Okay. So so innovation system is like a way of doing business.
Yes, model business and management, a lot of department and how the people structure the new products.
Okay, okay. Um, so here the structure of what you said sounded really good, but I wasn't familiar with what an innovation system is. So here it might be good to use one of those comparing and contrasting phrases to talk about why the innovation system is an improvement. What is it that's new? For example, whereas before the innovation system, we might do, I don't know what. Or on the one hand versus on the other hand. You have a chance here to give a little bit of background information. I think that would be really important. So, think about that. Uh, Maybe, I don't know, maybe that is what you're doing, because then you say, as I say, the good news is that the innovation system is a good deal for our markets. Why is the innovation system good for the market?
Well, because organize and personalize and control the process of creation a new product or new services.
Okay, so if you add that to the second sentence, I think it solves the problem. Because it can personalize as well as better organize and control business processes, or something like that. Something like that. I think if you throw that in there,
Okay,
it's more clear. Okay,
okay,
very good, and very good structure.
thank you.
We have time for another victim who's feeling brave.
Can I?
Go for it.
Well, let's start. As you know, our country's economy is at a time of downturn, and our company needs to save costs. So, the purpose of today is for you to start to become familiar with teleconference meetings. As I say, the good news is that it saves times. We don't have to wait in the airports or in the traffic jams, and we can quickly go to our teleconference meeting room at the time scheduled and start our meetings. But the drawback is that we have to become familiar with this new technology. Now, up on the left of our screen, you can see the link with instructions for our teleconference meetings. In other words, we are doing our part to help our company to save costs and to increase their productivity.
Okay, very good. We're doing a part to help save costs and increase productivity, right? If I understood
Right,
correctly. Okay, good.
yes, save costs and increase productivity.
Okay. Let me see if I can quickly fix my spelling and get it on screen. Hold on a second. One second, one second. Okay. There's still some mistakes, but that's basically what I heard you say. Well, as you know, our country... Well, yeah, there's a lot of mistakes. Well, as you know, our country's economy should be countries with apostrophe YS. As you know, our country's economy is at a time of downturn. Okay. So, first should be in a downturn. Sounds better. In a downturn. So the purpose of today is for you to start to become familiar with. That's okay. Teleconference. Maybe we would say, might say, familiar with teleconferencing systems or something like that. Teleconferencing and its, I don't know, various systems. But you could use teleconferencing here. It might be better. As I say, the good news is that it saves time. We don't have to wait in traffic. We can quickly go to the teleconference room and start a meeting. The drawback is that we have to become familiar with the new technology. Now, up on screen, you can see the link. I lost you here. Up on screen, you can see the link. I didn't quite catch what you said there. Remember?
Yes, a link with instructions for teleconferencing.
Teleconferencing. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. No problem. And finally, in other words, we are doing our part to help save costs. There's maybe a problem in that sentence. Let's take a quick look. Maybe we would say, in other words, comma, we are doing our part to help cut costs as well as increase productivity. I might say it like this. Because you save money, you don't save costs. But you can cut costs.
Cut
in order
costs.
to save. Exactly. Okay, very good, very good.
Okay. Thank you.
So what I suggest is you take the original version, which I tried to type really quickly, and then tomorrow, look at it, try to remember the corrections, and then write up the corrected version using my suggestions in the chat window. You can also send it to me, and I'll make sure that it's correct and send it back to you. But it's always about playing this game of looking at the original, trying to correct it out loud by speaking out loud, and then looking at the corrected version and seeing how many you got right. It's a simple, simple, simple way to get the particular mistakes that you're making, to get those corrections into your head really quickly. Okay, so today we reviewed contrasting and comparing expressions, and then we moved on to talk about how we can introduce a new system in something like a presentation. We found a few key expressions for that, and we practiced them. We're going to move on in the next class tomorrow at the same hour to a grammar point. It was, I'll tell you, I'm just blanking now. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay. We're going to focus on comparative forms and make sure that when you're making your comparisons, it's the right form, whether it's equal, greater than, less than, better, or worse. We're going to work on those comparative forms to give you another chance to talk about a system or service that you know. Okay? That'll be coming up tomorrow, and I'll be back tomorrow for 2 hours. Speaking skills first. I have to pick a new topic for you, but I'll post it later. And then this class focusing on grammar tomorrow at 11 GMT. Bye for now, everyone. Great job.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.